Hello, hello, beautiful souls. Naomi Fox Reina. I have a list of the most common questions that I'm getting about the upcoming Light-Filled Astrology Certification cohort that is starting April 21st. And if you have been thinking about this and you've had questions, perhaps you are someone that submitted one of these questions, or you've been thinking them yourself. Some of the questions that I've been getting about the upcoming certification are kind of in the category of like, am I ready yet? I feel really drawn to this, but I also feel like I don't know enough yet. How do I know if I'm actually ready for something like this? It has been my observation and my belief that if you're feeling really drawn to something, there's a divine purpose for it, especially something so specific as the Light-Filled Astrology Certification program, because this is like, you want to learn astrology, you want to learn it in a God-centered way, you want it to be light-filled, and you're wanting to take this and either infuse it with other gifts that you have, or give yourself another stream of income that's all on its own, or you just feel drawn to it. Like there's something here that you just know is for you. I think that is enough of a reason. Another question is, I've never taken a certification before. Is this going to feel overwhelming or like too much information? So if you've never taken a certification and you're thinking like, that sounds really robust, if you really thoroughly want to learn astrology, this will feel like coming home. I so badly wish that this existed when I was learning astrology, because I had to pick up like bits and pieces and all of that. And it took me years and years and years to learn what you can learn in just a few months, and to know that you're not missing anything, that you're not skipping over anything. And so I don't think that it will feel overwhelming if this is something that you're really curious about. And if you're really interested in truly learning, I think it's going to feel like just the right amount. And you may even wish that there was a little bit more, but there's the 12 weeks of pre-recorded content that you can go through at your own pace. And then we get together for 13 weeks. We do like a initial gathering on the 21st and just like introduce ourselves. So many people that are already in this cohort are here because they want to meet other people that are like them. They're looking for their tribe. And so if that's you, this is an excellent cohort to join. I'll be leading the first call, and then the next 12 calls will be led by Elise Houston, who is absolutely spectacular. She's one of my best students that I've ever had, and she worked internally with Light-Filled Co for a long time, and she is just truly remarkable. So she's such a gift. So you'll get to meet with her. So it'll be a lot of information, but I think it'll be the kind of a lot that you've been craving. Next question I have is, what if I join and realize I'm not as, quote, gifted at this as I thought? I just don't think that that's possible. Like, I really don't. Like, if you are hoping that you have some gifts with astrology, this is where they're going to come alive. This is where you're going to be able to get in and get into the information in a safe place for you to connect accurate information with your gifts, with your intuition, with your knowing, all of that. This is where that exactly happens. I can't think of another way that you could possibly learn astrology where those could be fused together, and the gifts that you hope that you have are there. Otherwise, you wouldn't hope that you have them. There's a bunch of people that this program is not for, and they're not thinking this. The fact that you're thinking that tells me that this is really important for you to follow. Let's get into some money or practical questions. I love astrology, but I don't know if I want to make it a business. Is this still worth it if I just want it for my own life? So again and again, I've had people say that this is worth every single penny just for what this has done for them personally, for their marriage, for their parenting, for themselves. If you're single and trying to date, it is incalculably, is that even a word, worth it. And again and again, I see people that find that it improves their life in such a dramatic way that they are so unbelievably grateful that they have done it. And if you do want to use it professionally, you can either infuse it into other session types or structures that you're already doing. You could be a massage therapist or a business coach or an interior decorator or I'm trying to think, a therapist. We've had those. We've had several of those come through. Just about any type of thing where you're working with people, you can infuse this with it, either on the front end or on the back end. Like, either people will know, like, oh, we're using astrology, or you can infuse what you know about it. Even if you're doing something that doesn't really fit with astrology, it can still definitely fill that and kind of fit within that. How realistic is it to actually make money doing this? How long does it usually take? So each person who does this, it depends on how motivated are you to make money. Because I know for me, when I first really got into astrology, I was a single mom. And like I said, it took years for me to really put together the pieces of astrology and be able to have it be something that I could put into a structured session. And you'll be able to learn that within a few months of everything you need to know and how to run a session, how to be able to connect with people in a way in session that actually makes it make sense, as well as additional ideas for how you can use this. And so when I first started this, I charged $95 a session. And just think about that. If you have absolutely no experience doing sessions, or you don't have like something that you can charge for, or maybe you're charging far less than that, $95 a session was a huge blessing to me at the time. And my boys were all little, and I just started booking sessions just because people were wanting it. It's a very unique skill, especially if you are actually sharing it in a way that aligns with their values, which of course, Light-Filled Astrology is very value-based. It's very specific. And so this may be exactly what it is that, that would fit with you being able to help others. From there, it wasn't that long before I was charging about $200. I think it was $222 a session for years. And I did a lot of sessions. A lot of you that are still here had sessions with me at that price point, and it was fantastic. And I was very, very grateful for every bit. I taught some classes where I charged very little for the classes, and then from the classes, people would book sessions with me. And that's really how it got started. And once I found my flow and my confidence, because that's really the biggest thing, is just finding your confidence. I was making thousands and thousands of dollars a month pretty easily doing something I love that fit around my schedule, because I could mark off when I wasn't available. So basically, because you're driven to make money, if this is your question, and if you're like, how quickly can I make money? I absolutely believe that you can go through this in a way that you can consciously and deliberately make it so that you can make money quickly. And I think that and I had said this in an email that I sent out last week, having a skill in this economy where things are so uncertain, having a skill where you can actually market yourself, you can be able to offer sessions, you can be able to do things for people, is wildly beneficial. And being able to really connect with people in this way that you can just add several $100s here and there. I know for most people, like $500 a month would change their entire life. Like just having a little bit more, just a little bit more leeway, especially doing something you love so very much. I've invested in programs before and I didn't follow through. What makes this different? So one of the biggest things with investing in like an online program is if you don't have the live component, you lack so much of that accountability and the community. The community is huge. I was just talking with somebody recently and they were saying that they feel like the community aspect of the Light-Filled Astrology Certification is worth the money in and of itself, because you're introduced into this awesome community of people who are like-minded, who speak the same language literally as you, and speaking astrology language, and that you're able to just kind of open up into that. And with that, it keeps you motivated and it keeps you going. Plus, we're meeting live every single week. You're going to meet with me first and then Elise Houston for the rest of them, and be able to have that component where you're really driven to show up, to continue the work and to get it done consistently. I have way, way, way more people finishing this program and getting fully certified than is statistically average at all for the industry. It is exceptionally higher. And I believe in you. And I think the videos are really well done. I actually enjoy going back and listening to them. And I'll listen, I'll be like, wow, this is really good. Like, I did a really good job being able to say this, and just putting myself in your shoes and thinking like, oh, if I were new at this would be like the best thing ever. So I think you have every reason to believe in yourself, that you'll finish this, that it'll make a difference, and that it's something that you can actually apply to your life. Okay, let's get into skepticism, or like more logical questions. So part of me still feels like astrology shouldn't work, but I also can't ignore how accurate it is. How do I reconcile that? Or sometimes it's a little bit of the religious question along with that. Like, is it okay for me to be into astrology if I'm a religious person, or if my family is more like conservative in the sense of religion? And I think it just comes down to the stories that we're telling ourselves and the shame that we feel around those stories. It starts to build up. And we need to just be careful not to be living our lives for other people. If this is something that you think can really help and bless people, then you find a way to find the confidence within yourself. And if other people are critical, or if you think that they're going to be critical, a lot of times what I see is that people think that the people in their life are going to be critical, but they aren't necessarily as critical as they have in their head. Then we hold ourselves back over silly things. And I just think that holding yourself back from something that you are feeling prompted to do, that you're feeling like drawn to and lit up by, is really, it's really tragic. And this is an excellent way for you to begin showing yourself that you're overcoming that, and that you don't need to be a slave to other people's opinions of you, or what you think other people's opinions of you are. The next question I've got on the skepticism or logical questions is this more intuitive or more structured? Like, will I actually know what I'm doing? It's incredibly structured, and I believe that there's room for intuition, but I'm a Virgo moon and a Virgo midheaven, and we talk about that a lot, and I'm very structured. I like things that make sense. I like following in a linear pattern, and where you can grow on it step by step. One of my spiritual gifts is to be a teacher and to anticipate what it is that you need to know so that you will understand. Because it's kind of hard, and I'm sure you've seen this a lot with people that are trying to teach or trying to instruct. They've gone over the bridge, they've gone through the process, they've learned the thing, and now they're trying to come back and teach. And they're speaking language from like further down, and they're not speaking the language of the people that are on the other side of the bridge. And it's really essential to stay connected to the version of yourself, if you're trying to teach people, of what you were before your transformation. And this is structured from that standpoint, so that you are learning from where you're at, wherever that is, and crossing the bridge into a state where you are speaking the language of astrology. Okay, let's get into identity-based stuff, because this is huge for this. So much of this is about the identity of who you are and who you see yourself as, and what that's going to look like. So I feel like I'm meant to do something with this, but I can't fully explain why. Is that enough of a reason to say yes? If you just are feeling drawn to this, but you don't necessarily have all the logic to go along with it, I have seen that again and again. People do discover why. I cannot count how many times people are like, I don't know what it is, but I know that I'm supposed to do this. And they find out along the way. The first person that comes to mind is Seidel Schultz, which so many of you know, and she's just incredible. And she got into it, and she really didn't fully understand why she was doing the Light-Filled Astrology Certification. But she learned that she could hear people's moon signs in their voices. She was already like a vocal intuitive coach. Her business is called Soul Sound, and she found that what was coming through was the sound of the moon sign. And it's really, really incredible. It didn't even take her that long before she discovered this. And now she's fully booked out with all of these amazing clients, helping them with their marketing, because that's so much of your voice coming up and through. How do I know if this is just an interest or something that I'm actually supposed to pursue? I really, truly believe that if there's a desire on your heart, if you're in this group, if you're participating, if you're like leaning in and you're loving all the posts, you're making posts yourself, you're commenting on things, or you lurk and you watch and read everything, there's a reason for that. And I think that that is beautiful and wonderful. Not everybody in the world feels that way, but you do. And if you are feeling that way, I think that it is really good to go for it. Let's talk about some like discernment or like fit questions. So who is this not for? This is not for people who love to complain. And I find that people who love to complain generally don't identify as people who love to complain. But this is not for people who just want things like spoon-fed to them per se. This is for someone who loves to dive into the information. This is not for someone who is really just not that interested in astrology, that they're like, oh, that's kind of cool or whatever, but like, it's not my thing. Not for you. You're probably not still watching this if that is you. And this is really not for people that are not feeling drawn to it. If you are feeling drawn to it, it's for you. And I think that there's a lot of you who are very drawn to this, and you still think like, oh, that's not really for me or whatever, or you think you can't have it. And I just think that there's a way. There's always a way for you to have the desires on your heart. those are the questions that I have. I'd be happy to have like a small little Zoom session for those that have a bunch of questions. You can also just apply. If you apply for the Light-Filled Astrology Certification program, then it'll redirect you to book a call with me. You can fill in your chart information. We can look at your chart together and we can be able to discern like, how does this fit for you? How does this make sense right now? I haven't opened one of these Light-Filled Astrology certification cohorts for almost 2 years. I have no idea when I'm going to do it again, but I'm very, very excited about this one. We already have some phenomenal people that are in, and it's such a great group. And so we start in a week, and I would love it if you could join us. And I look forward to going through your questions and seeing those after I wrap this up. Okay, I love you so very much. I'm thrilled that you're here, and you are perfect and amazing, just as you are.